Shit.
We're professional operation here, Tom.
Stacks of cash.
It's the cash money.
We're on.
We're hot.
Hold on real quick. I have to piss.
Go ahead.
No, not right now.
Oh, I got to do my intro.
If I end up having to. Is it okay if I go real quick?
Yeah. Are we hot right now?
You're live.
Everything's live?
You're live.
Listen, we're back with another episode. First, the sponsors, head over to www.johnbartoloshow.com and check out a complete list of the sponsors there. Gallo Technologies, Rhino Metals, Enforce Weapon Lights, Full Quartz and Firearms, Galco, Leather Holsters, Blackwater Ammunition, Pulsar, Thermal Imaging Technologies coming down in price. Go check out Pulsar. Love the sponsors. Please go thank them. Support the show. Leave reviews. Do everything you can do to support the show. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you, guys. And all the sponsors are listed down below. We got a special guest today I'm really excited about. This guy's the man. It's a lot of fun. Love watching his posts. He's excited. He's bringing a lot of energy to a sport I love. The one and only Mr. Tom Deblass.
Thank you, my friend. Long time coming, right?
Go into the mic. Go into the mic.
Oh, sorry about
Yeah,
that.
bring it over to you.
I gotta get used
Yeah,
to
okay.
this.
You moves. Go nuts with it. Bring it all the way over. Go ahead.
I don't want to rip the whole shit down.
No, I got you. Hang on.
We've been planning this for a while, man.
Yeah.
It's been good. Oh, perfect.
Oh.
All right. Now I'm in business.
Now he's in
I've been able to
business.
reach my,
You get it. You can get it.
mindset.
Go ahead.
I'm good, brother.
We got we got you in here. It's been a wild ride watching your progression and watching everything that you've done in the sport. And now social media comes in and you become like this voice of a nation. You know what I mean? It's amazing. How has it been going?
It's good. You know, I can't be 100% myself because we saw how there was like a period of 6 months where I was, heavily shadow banned. And like, my haters jumped on and, oh, no, you're not shadow banned. People just aren't interested in you anymore. It's like, no, my reach went from like a few million, to like 50,000. So you have to be careful what you say. But, excuse me, at the same time, I found myself getting a little bit showing too much of me on social media.
Right.
Because we don't have to show exactly who we are. And I know there's a lot of people who look to me and they relate to me. I think people like me. The people who like me, I think they like me because they relate to me. They relate to my struggle. And I'm not silent about my struggles. I'm not silent about, my battles and my demons and the things I've been through. And I think it's important that we talk about these things because a lot of people are out there suffering and they don't know that it's actually more common to suffer than not. It's more common to wake up feeling like shit than not. And it's not saying it's okay to. We want to fix that. But in order to fix it, we have to recognize it. And I recognize it. Like I'm very real with myself. I looked at myself in the mirror the other day, man, and I just moved into a new place, and a picture of me when I was like a little kid next to my kids was right on the nightstand. And I looked at that picture of me as a little kid, and then I looked in the mirror, and it's like, how did we get here? You know what I mean? Like how, and a lot of people look at me and say, oh, you're successful, you're this, you're that. Yeah, but at the same time, life didn't 100% go as planned for me, and life hardens us, man. It makes us people that we don't necessarily think that we are.
Right.
And we have to adjust. And I think I just give people sometimes the opportunity to realize like they could do it too.
Right.
That's it.
It's crazy. We were talking about this a little bit the other day. Where does the time go, right?
Yeah.
Like, where does it go? You blink. I look at some of the pictures even you post of you in the ring and just competing and things like that. But time just flies.
It does, man. A lot.
You got a short go around on this planet, right?
That's what you realize. That's hard to accept, Even for me, like, since I've been here this weekend, like my right arm is just constantly going numb. It's like something is always wrong.
Right.
Like physically. And then, people don't realize how closely the physical body is related to the mental aspect, to how you feel, right? So a lot of people who are depressed, like, I remember I posted one time, like, control the things that you can control. If you're feeling down, if you're feeling sad, take it into your own hands to try to feel better.
Right.
I'm not saying you don't need a doctor, you don't need medication, but the things you can control, your diet, drink more water, do the things that you can control, because if you don't, it's going to be that much harder. And you'll be surprised, just a few minor tweaks of adjusting yourself and the things you eat and how you take care of yourself could make yourself feel better as a human being. And I think ultimately at the end of the day, everybody's goal, no matter what we're doing, is to be happy. Right? Like, what is money without happiness? It's really meaningless, right? So for some people, money makes them happy. For some people, other things make them happy. Find your reason, find what makes you happy, and then run with it. But yeah, I look back, I think every 5 years of my life is I end up in a place differently than I thought I would originally. You know,
What makes you happy?
What makes me happy? Being with my kids, helping people. I adore my kids. Like I'm that dad that wants to be with them as much as I possibly could. My kids, my son is not easy. He's a wild man. You know, he's 6 years old, but that boy he is fire all day, and it's exhausting. But being next to him and being with him really, it's something that I love. And you know, running my academy, just what makes me happy is waking up and feeling peace. You know, feeling like everything is okay.
Right.
And those moments are fleeting. You know, it's very rare that I have a moment where I'm not, you know, where I'm not dealing with an issue or a problem that people don't even know about.
Right.
But it's very rare. And I do love helping people, you know, and a lot of people say, oh, you don't love helping people because you'll write online, like, you aggress people. Yeah, like, man, I do believe in violence, and I don't like people who are
solve some problems for sure.
Yeah. You know, like I'm not the one to turn the other cheek. You know, that's never been me. My father, God rest his soul, he hasn't taught me that. And what happens when you turn the cheek? They just slap the other one.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, you know, I just like to help as many people as I could. And I do like money too. Right?
Yeah.
Everybody likes money.
Makes things easier, right?
That's the thing. Like, I do like being able to pay my bills, you know, able to do things for my family. These things are all important to me. And but I'm a pretty simple guy, man. You know, like I don't need much. I don't need like extravagant things. You know, I find pleasure in just the simple, basic things. You know, just moments of peace.
Do you think jiu-jitsu's digging its way out to where it's possible to make money now? I know you and guys like Gore are pioneering some of that, like putting it together. But you see a lot of broken schools, and
I think they don't get it.
Right.
I think you got to understand, if you want to make money in jiu-jitsu, you have to take the approaches you would make money in any business. You have to be smart. If you're not smart, you will fail. You have to have a very strategic approach. You have to be able to succeed no matter where you go. And I think these people who run jiu-jitsu academies that fail, they don't realize the little details make a world of a difference.
Huge.
Like, I always say, if a middle-aged millionaire walks through your doors, will he look around and say, oh, wow, I want to be a part of this? Or will he look at it and say, what is this shit right here? You know what I mean? And, you know, cleanliness, just little tiny things. Like, they say heavy is the head that wears the crown. It's very hard to do things the right way in order to grow, because you're going to upset people that are very close to you, you know? I don't care. Like, if you don't like what I say, it is what it is. And I don't always ask for advice.
Right.
Why would I ask advice from someone who hasn't done what I want to do?
Right.
So I'm only going to ask advice from people who have actually achieved the things that I want to achieve. And if you haven't, I'll listen to you, and maybe there's something you could say that will change my mind, possibly, but that has to be on my terms, you know?
Yeah. It's like troubleshooting the day and troubleshooting life. You know what I mean? It's like, that's how I wake up and I reconcile it in my head, is how to troubleshoot every situation and who you want to plug in from your circle, right? That can help you. What can help you? It's crazy, you know, running an academy and developing and having such an influence on guys, gals in their 16 to 25 and 26 and 27 is such a powerful responsibility in that developmental stage. And I talk about it a lot with the coaches. I'm older, I'm broken down and beat up. Nothing's happening with this. This is over. But you have a huge responsibility. And I think that's where the heaviest part of the crown lays.
Yeah, but you know what? At the same time, I am flawed. I am me. And I never claimed to be this picture of perfection.
Right.
Like, you know, from physically, from the physical scars to the scars that you can't see, I'm made up of broken pieces that were put back together. And for sure, because of that, I'm not going to be someone that you could look at for everything and say, I want to do things exactly the way he does things. You know, some people won't agree with my approach. Like, I'm a very unforgiving person. And that's something I'm trying to work on. Like,
that's an Irish thing.
And I'm not even Irish, bro.
I know. That's an Irish thing, though.
It's like,
you won't let go of those old beefs.
It's hard for me. But at the same time, if somebody is genuinely sorry, then it's okay. But if we have an issue and and we never resolve it. Like, I remember it and I store it.
I feel like grudges are a Northeast thing, though. I feel like that's a hardcore, like, fuck him. You know, he crossed me.
Yeah, but you know what? So many people do things emotionally. Like they emotionally hold grudges. I'm very big at removing the emotion from the plan. I think once you start, you know, bringing emotion into your daily routine and your plan, it's good to be, there's a difference between passion and emotion. Emotion makes you do things when you necessarily shouldn't do it. Passion makes you do things that you should do. And I'm for sure very, very passionate. I am emotional, but I do contain my emotions. And like I say, if I get mad, if I yell, if I do something, it's because I want to.
Right.
You didn't make me, you know. And basically everything I do for a reason. I'm pretty strategic in my approach with everything, you know. And it's not always successful, but I never make the same mistake twice.
That's the key, right? Is limiting the mistakes.
100%, man.
You know, on and off the mat, really. Just limit the mistakes.
Real quick, I took chew one time and I almost died.
Why?
Because it was the most horrific experience of my life.
Wow.
I got dizzy, man, like nauseous.
Sick.
Yeah, it was. You didn't even have a spit cup.
Of course I do, right here.
You do, but you didn't even use it yet.
I didn't.
It's been in there for like 2
I'm
minutes,
just leaving it in there, just letting it marinate. You know, it's true savagery lives on the inside. So
That is, bro.
true savagery.
That is.
You know, it's a horrible habit. Don't get into it.
Oh, I won't.
It's the worst thing to get into. But
I
it's
hate throwing up. I hate feeling nauseous.
It is one of my major vices. Besides that, and sniffing gunpowder. That's about it. But I really wanted to have you in because I feel like the things that you do when you post, and it might be a little emotional for you, but whether it's talking about your dad, talking about your family relationships, the mental health issues, everything that you incorporate, you have a way in it, and maybe it's because we're all from that same area, that same water of articulating that it hits home for me personally. It resonates with me, and it's just that straightforward, like, I'm not having a good day today. Yeah. This is why.
Yeah, I'm real, you know, and I really just, the reasons why I am the way I am, like I really don't fear death. You know, I actually, if I didn't have kids, I would rather death. And that doesn't mean I'm depressed, but I just don't necessarily.
What's the point of this?
Yeah, what is happening right in this world? You know what I mean? Do I really want to do this shit?
I understand what you mean.
And it's like, no, I'm not depressed. I'm happy. But, you know, you go through so much in a lifetime. It's like, when is it going to end? When is the bullshit going to end, you know?
Well, I feel like we've built a system that it's like, go to work, make money, pay bills, pay taxes. You're just a number. And move on.
Yeah, and you know, I think that's where, you know, I am very thankful because my job isn't the typical job, you know. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I do post how I feel often because, and I know some people don't vibe with it, but I'm a very passionate guy, man, and I have a lot of depth to me. You know, there's a lot that makes me me, and it comes from things not always being easy. Things have been very tough in life. Like
right.
I've shared, you know, my father, you know, he passed away, God rest his soul. We had a really good relationship, but he was also, you know, a drug addict and alcoholic my entire life. And, you know, you see shit when that happens, you know, and all my friends, like some of my friends aren't like, that's why I laugh at these people when they run their mouth online. Like some of my friends aren't like normal men, you know.
We were talking about this the other day. I had friends. I'll tell one of this. I had friends in college. Like I thought, that, like fights, things. It was crazy. Like they were characters. You know what I mean? Like characters. Like shit we watch in movie. Like they were characters.
Yeah.
And you wonder. You look back and you wonder. I told a couple stories. One or two I shouldn't tell on air. But you wonder how they're alive. How they got this far.
Some aren't.
And some aren't.
And I know some will end up dead. You know. And you know, it doesn't mean I'm not gonna be friends with them, because even if you make mistakes in your life and, you know, so-called mistakes and you do things that aren't straight edge, it doesn't mean you're not a good person.
Right.
You know, because a lot of people, you know, when you look at the law is man-made shit, right? That a lot of it's really not too conducive for every man, you know? So it's like, just because someone tells me it should be this way, it doesn't mean it should be this way, you know? Like, why do I need the law to tell me if somebody does something terrible to me, I need to wait and go through the police to do something terrible to them back? Why? You know, if you disrespect me, it is what it is. We're all just men and women in this earth, and no one could tell me different. Like, I don't look at anybody in awe. You know, I don't look at anybody and think I have to abide by their laws. Now, I am a law-abiding citizen, for sure, just because I'm a pretty easygoing guy. You know, I'm not too extreme in any sense. Like, the whole mask shit, I'll wear it.
Right.
But I'm not going to shut down my business. You know what I mean? Like, there's always limits to me.
That was the most retarded thing ever.
Nah, it wasn't fun, dude.
It was stupid.
It wasn't fun. And I really never shut down.
No one did.
You know, a lot of people in Jersey did.
People that went out of business did.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the problem. It's like, pick your poison. Yeah. All right, you want me to shut down? I'll shut down. We're gonna have no money.
And these cowards don't understand that.
No.
You know, the people who were for that and they didn't care about the shutdowns, they didn't understand. Like, this is a lifetime of building.
Yeah, but those people that took it in the ass, Tom, those are the folks that you know, they didn't go through the grind. Maybe mommy, daddy gave them the money. Maybe so and so took care of them. They had a rich aunt. They sucked the right dick or something. But that's some bullshit. If you're gonna do it and you worked your ass off to get your business from A to B, you're not leaving that business. You're not closing that business. You're not saying, I'm going to take my dream that I worked 20 years for. Like, the guys that allowed that to happen and they say, oh, how are we going to stop the state? How are we going to do this? How are we going to do that? It's a private function. You can't come in. Go fucking arrest me.
100%, because I think a lot of people are actually happy because now, you know, their failed goals and dreams, they could see, yeah, now you have to feel like I feel, right? But it's like, no, man, like, we can't just roll over. Like, and what the problem is hypocrisy. Like, I hate hypocrisy. So you can't tell me I can't do one thing when other people could do another thing. And it just didn't make sense, you know. And a lot of people lost themselves during this pandemic, you know, including me for a few months.
We all did.
You know,
I think we all did.
For sure. It was not easy because you don't know what's going to happen next.
There was a day or two where I was like Leo and Aviator, like Howard Hughes in the fucking house. Like, you go through that. I mean, that's part of it because you're dealing with the disconnect. You're dealing with the remoteness, that feeling of like, you know, everything was a struggle, especially at the beginning of COVID. Yeah. I feel like going to the grocery store was a struggle. You need the fucking mask and you got to wipe everything down and then somebody has to spray you and then you got to take your pants down.
Yeah, like, this ain't life, man.
Yeah.
You know? And the thing is, my big thing is I always need to know, like, when's it going to end or when will it be over? And there was no end result, like, or no ending in sight. Like, we didn't know how long this would go on for. We didn't know if this would be a thing forever.
I think Trump would have ended it. I think Trump would have ended it when the vaccine rolled out. I think they're trying to milk the last bits of it now.
I think he was trying to end it before the vaccine.
Yeah.
You know?
I think the vaccine was going to be his no excuses. It's over.
That's a wrap.
Like, that's a wrap. We're giving the vaccine. Now they're like, wait a minute, there's COVID version 72. You got to wear a mask for this. And in California, they're talking about remasking.
California, that governor in California, he's something special, huh?
He's a shitbag.
Yeah, he's terrible.
He's a shitbag.
Horrible, horrible human. And again, hypocrisy. He's shutting down businesses, and
he's out having steak dinner.
Yeah, when he's with no mask.
With no mask
in a group.
Yeah,
I hate hypocrisy, man. You know, like, that's something. That's another thing. If you want to succeed in your martial arts business, understand you can't be a hypocrite teacher. Like, you can't be reprimanding your students or asking them to do something you were never willing to do. For sure, I'm not going to train with the same intensity as I was when I was preparing for, you know, big events. But I know how hard I used to prepare, you know, so I do expect the same from my students. And if I never did it, it's very hard to expect people to do it. You know, I think you have to be a walking, like, you have to be what you want other people to be. You know, and if you're not, they're not going to respect you.
You got to be a representation of. Yeah. You have to take that image that you want to achieve and manifest it into yourself to project that out into the universe to be a better person.
That you know, and like I said, when I say you have to be what you portray yourself to be, you know, and I respect Andre Galvao a ton. I really do. I wish these things never happened with Gordon and Andre.
When he slapped the shit out of him.
Yeah, but it's very hard.
Was that real?
Oh yeah, bro.
I just want you to verify.
Yeah,
some people,
no.
Yeah, was that real? No. You know Gordon as good as that. I mean, I haven't seen him since he was out here. Gordon,
yeah, no, bro, but listen, man, Gordon it was his first event he was competing without his father. You know, like, there's a time and a place, you know. So if you're gonna bring that heat, you got to be ready, you know, to react to it. And Andre is not a punk. Like, he's a tough guy, you know. Like, Andre is crushing 99% of the humans out there, you know. But there's a lot of people at a world class level that when it's really time to be about it, like really about it, they're not about it.
Yeah.
They're not, you know? And my students, like, I couldn't imagine going back to my school after someone slapped me in my mouth and I walked away and didn't do nothing.
It's a good way to put it. I didn't think of that. You know what's funny? It was the other day. I just caught something he did. I've seen other instructors do this. He goes 99%. He uses a percentage. The other day, remember Casey, because he's been rolling with Henry Akins? He's like, I'm fucking pissed that a guy like this exists that's half out of shape and he beats the shit out of me. He's like, I have to know that he walks around Vegas. I'm only 99% now. There's 1% out there that could beat me. It's funny, though, how your brain works. Like, there's one guy maybe in New Jersey that can beat me. Fuck, I got to think about that. Like Gordon or something.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. And then if Gordon slapped a different person, he might have got knocked out unconscious, right? Gordon doesn't really practice boxing or
right.
hands, or he's not a street kid. You know, he grew up tough, Gordon, but he's not like.
There's a difference though between mat jiu-jitsu and street. We talk about that a lot. I talk about that a lot.
You know what I think the biggest difference is? The willingness to do some terrible shit.
Well, that's why, Tom, Suresh knows what I'm going to say. I say this all the time. When somebody says, I'm a black belt and this is a joke, I'll say, I'm prepared to die. Are you?
Yeah, that's the difference. But then we get into that thing where we get people who are just, even if they're prepared to die, they're going to get crushed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Nothing.
I have to shoot them or stab them.
Yeah. And it's like, you get a world-class jiu-jitsu guy. Let's say if it's a very, very high-level jiu-jitsu guy against a really, really tough purple belt. Because you have to be some kind of trained. Like, if that world-class jiu-jitsu guy is not willing to, bite or eye gouge or do certain things, like, he's most likely not going to be a very tough purple belt. But if he's going against a guy who's willing to do all those crazy things, no idea about combat, he's still going to win because the guy has no idea about combat. He doesn't know how to fight whatsoever. So I think the willingness to be a little...
everything goes.
Yeah,
everything
exactly.
goes.
But not with everybody.
I know in anti-gun Jersey, everything goes. Once it turns on and it's a scrap, I'm not talking about moving bodies and shit. It's on.
Yeah.
It's on. If I got to get a shank, sharpen a fucking pencil, because I'm not tough enough. I'm a pussy. I'm not good enough. I say it all the time. I'm not good enough. I have to have all the extras. Yeah. So I tell guys all the time, training's great, but there is a difference between what happens out there and what's on the mat. Now, this is where I sit on it. I think 99% of guys, purple belt or higher, can more than handle themselves on the street because you don't get to that place without having some arrows in the quiver. Is there some guys that are fucking reckless human beings out there? Yeah. There's some crazy people out there. We all grew up with them. We all know who they are. There's some guys that just, they don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
And they're going to wait till you're sleeping on them.
Yeah.
And that's when they're going to come. But I love where jiu-jitsu, let's come back to the Gordon Andre thing. So that thing pops off. What do you say to Gordon when that popped off? Are you like, hey, calm down or fuck him, let's run him over? How do you handle that as like a mentor and a friend? And
well, what I said was if they have an issue, I would like a fair fight, but for sure, like if I was around and someone slapped one of my teammates, like there would be a big fight. I've had a big fight break out in one of my fights before in the stands. I don't think that's terrible when these things happen, but once it happens, it happens.
It's on.
Like I'm not trying to break it up. But I did think that Andre, if he wanted to settle it with Gordon, he could bring his guys and we could all just sit there and watch. And then if anybody gets, squirrely about it, I wouldn't. I would watch. Even if Gordon was losing a fair fight, he's losing. I'm not going to jump in. But if his guys are there, they go to jump in, and then that's
we should broker this. We could get what was the movie with Van Damme? Lionheart? We can get what's the best set though? The pool or the cars?
The pool is a good
the pool
set.
Is the shit. Yeah. That high end, low end, and they fought the guy with the long hair. The long hair guy was kind of a fucking pussy, but it was like Van Damme. Every time he had to hit that pose, that fucking he's like.
That was I forgot about that movie. That was a good one.
Yeah,
that was a tough situation, because Andre did get taken out of character with that. He's a lot of people give him shit, but I've always liked Andre. I've never had any issues with him. So I mean,
what do you think the best platform if they go at it would be? Would it be at a match or you should promote it? That's where
they're apparently supposed to compete in ADCC. But if somebody slapped me in my face, I would just want to punch them in their face back. It wouldn't really have to be a paid thing. Not everything is about money. Some things are about being able to look at yourself in the mirror every day. And if Andre is okay with the way things happen, if he found his peace, good for him. God bless him. I don't care. I'm not judging him.
I don't know how you reconcile that though publicly. Like we've all been in that like privately. Like we've all been in a little scrap or something. Somebody gets a little cheap shot, but with that being as public as it was, I would think you got to deal with it, right? Even if you're gonna fucking lose, I bite the guy's. Hey, how many times have I said it? I'm gonna lose, but I'll bite your fucking nuts off.
I wouldn't have been able to walk back into my school.
Well, I would have went back to the school and I would have said we're gonna do a match. Fuck it. Like if I was gonna walk away from that situation because maybe I didn't want to get arrested, maybe I didn't want to turn it into a thing at an event, say Gordon, fuck you, to give the fuck yous and you go your separate ways. I would have done maybe what he was saying. I would have said, listen, we're gonna have a match. My next post would have been like, we're gonna have a match. I might lose. Yeah. He's the best in the world. We all know he is. I might lose, but the respect. Yeah. And if I'm number 2, I'm okay with that. He's going to die not knowing. That's what's crazy, Tom.
And the thing is, like, his legacy, like, he's truly one of the best to ever do it.
But he'll always be second. You know it. I know it.
Yeah, and the thing is, for me, the way I look at it is, like, I don't really, I still focus on the good things that he's done. It's like,
of course.
He made him, he got slapped, he got disrespected. It sucks. Whatever. He's clearly not a fighter.
Right.
Like, but he is one of the best jiu-jitsu competitors to ever do it. He's a vicious competitor. He truly is. But when it comes to the possibility of the unknown happening, like in jiu-jitsu, if you get caught and you tap, it's over. That time limit's going to run out. I don't think Andre likes anything else besides that, and that's fine.
Yeah. The way I reconcile it is this. I can tell you that I own Alaska. But until I go and put my flag in it, I don't own it, right? Until I plant a flag and say I own it. Gordon was the first to plant the flag, under yours and John's guidance, so to speak. And he probably is the best, right? And this is one situation.
Well, technically, Gordon, yes. Gordon will beat Andre. He will, for sure. But technically, what Andre's done, Gordon hasn't done.
Right.
Andre's done competitively things that no one has done. So it's really Andre's flag. And Gordon wants to say, no. I'm much better than you.
Right.
And I think Andre's kind of just like, God, it's my flag. I'm not going to give you a
hanging
chance
on.
To grab it.
Yes.
Yeah. To where, I think you have to go with what he should have done is after the last ADCC,
right.
He beat Penna. If you don't want to face Gordon, just retire. That's it. And then you're not going to be expected to do something. But don't say you'll beat Gordon if you're not willing to compete against Gordon. And that's where he went wrong.
That's a great way to put it. To be the man, you got to beat the man, vice versa.
But, and if he would have walked away after Penna, he would have went down with all the respect in the world as one of the greatest to ever do it. And people would say, oh, I wonder if Andre or Gordon would have won. And he could have done things strategically, and people would have questioned who could have won. But the fact that he said he could beat Gordon, and then every opportunity he had to compete against Gordon, he didn't take it. That's where people are like, wait a second. Like, who are you? You're not the best. Gordon's the best.
Right.
He brought this upon himself because he wasn't strategic. As strategic as he is in his matches, he wasn't when it came to this. And you have to be. You have to be, and he wasn't. And he failed in that sense. But you know what, man? This is going to blow over, and then who knows? Everybody has their day.
I know we leapfrogged into the Gordon thing, but, and believe me, when you're building your circle, like our circle of friendship, you plug in and you put pieces in. I was going to ask you, how do you identify someone that's a good person to break bread with versus someone that's a good person to be in your circle versus at this stage of life, someone that you're willing to put the extra into?
It's hard to get in my circle. To get in my circle is not easy at all. Very, very few people are in my circle because most people can't even trust themselves. So how could you trust another man? You know what I mean? If you're going to be in my circle, you have to be totally... You can't judge. Don't be judgy. Like, don't ride your high horse. Don't think you're better than people. If you want me to be someone that I put time into, you have to show up every single day. You have to be willing to suffer. You have to be, no excuses, right? Like, and that's it. And then other people who say they want this, they want that, as long as I don't say anything about it. I'll just kind of go along for the ride, but not put my heart and soul into them, you know. But even in my circle, you know, like people are willing to do some unthinkable shit, you know, and you just have to understand and accept that, you know. Like I do have guys that I could trust for sure. I know I do, you know, but it's not easy to get to that level at all. And a lot of people think they have friends. Like I remember when I was in high school, I was surrounded by a bunch of
animals.
Yeah, you know, and I looked in the crowd, and like a lot of my friends were just sitting there watching. You know what I mean? There was one who stepped up. Quan Dorsey, his name was, and he stepped up. And the kid, the group that was gonna jump me was actually one of his cousins, and he stepped up to defend me. Like shit like that goes a long way with me. You know what I mean? A lot of people just live scared, man. You know, and that's why I don't vibe with a lot of people on a personal deep level, because I can't live scared. I would rather die than live scared. It has nothing to do with being tough. It has to do with the ability of looking myself in everything with me intertwines. Like I said, that those moments of peace, I can never have moments of peace if I lived scared. If I was a coward, I couldn't do it. You know what I mean? No, I know I'm not the best at. I'm not the best at anything. I'm pretty good at a lot of things, right? But I do believe when it comes to well-rounded, right? Like, yeah, Andre is a much better competitor than me, for sure. But, you know, and he runs a good school. All right, now let's talk about running a school, you know, having an affiliation where people truly respect you, never turn their back on you. A lot of his students, they have, you know. I do that a little better than he does. You know what I mean? So I do believe in I'm pretty good in every aspect. I have things figured out, and I still am going to get better. But one of those things I really have figured out is who do you keep close to you?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people have the wrong people close to them, for sure.
What's the number one mistake people make when bringing people in their circle? What's the biggest lesson you learned? Is it money? Is it women? What is it?
The mistake?
Yeah, that they make crossing you.
Oh, so people, how do they cross you with?
What sets you off?
There's just certain things that just shouldn't be done. You just never, when you're close to somebody, you put them first. You know, as long as you're not getting taken advantage of. You know, like if you're my boy and you're not friends with somebody else, and you're your enemies and they've done something disrespectful to you, well then I'm not friends with them either.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
No,
okay.
I don't vibe with people that like, now if you just have a disagreement about something and it's minor, that's different. But if truly you did my friend wrong, how could I break bread with you?
Right.
How could I be friends with you? I can't.
You
know, and there's a lot of people out there, oh, you know, I could just, you know, your problems are your problems, not my problems. Okay.
Yeah. It's hard. It's circle is something we were talking about. It's funny. We were talking about this the other night. You don't really master it till you're like 30 or 35. Like you start knowing who you don't want around you, and you start leveling up those people you do want around you. It's hard.
It is hard, and I've learned a lot of lessons over the years, man. Like I've there's a lot of things that I went through that, excuse me, I did learn the hard way, and now I find that I don't expect. Like I get surprised all the time. You know, like people do good things and nice things for me, but I also understand that if I'm not bringing something to the relationship, my friendship, I can't expect anything to be brought in return. Like,
right.
There's a lot of people out there that it's just a one-way relationship. Like they're constantly asking for things,
right?
Constantly need things. Now, if you have friends that are going through a tough time, for sure, do your best to help that person. But I'm not with people who are just constantly in a state of needing that are never giving. It's a give and take.
You got to use like the rule of three. Like if I do three things, you don't come back and at least, you know,
yeah. Like
usually it's a cordial. Like we were saying this tonight. Thank you. Hey man, listen, I'm been out of work for 3 months. You know what I mean? You do me a solid. Can help me out? Let me get a membership. You know, help me with the membership. I'll sweep. I do whatever I can.
That's a lot of that. Yeah. Like for instance, I just had a place built, and 3 of my friends did it. And my one friend was doing it for free. Like he didn't want any money, you know? Like nothing. But I wrote him a nice check and was like, you in order to make this
right whole, make it whole,
you have to accept the check. because I don't want it just for free.
That's such an Italian. That's a greaseball thing. That is such an Italian thing. Like you show up with like the muffins, you eat the muffins. Like that's it. Like
it's like, man, like you did this nice for me. So in order for me to feel like I'm giving back in return, you have to accept this,
right?
And he did, and now I don't feel bad about asking him for, oh, could you come fix this? Or could you do this? Because I'm not just a one-way cocksucker. You know what I mean? Like I'm not just taking. I'm giving. I'm giving back, and that's how I am. I'm very giving. I can never be that guy that's just greedy and expects, but doesn't give. And so many people are.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like a job. You got to be slow to hire, quick to fire. You got to manage those situations.
It's actually surprising how many people that take, and the moment you don't give,
they
you're
snap.
The worst person.
You're a shitbag.
Yeah. You're the worst person. I've had students in the past that like told me they had a goal. I held them to that standard of the goal that they've had. When they can't live up to that standard, they have to create a bad guy. So then I'm the bad guy then. But I'll only hear that I'm the bad guy through people they tell or things they've posted. They never come face to face to me and talk to me. Which I say that all the time. Anybody who doesn't like me, 336 Lacey Road, Forked River, New Jersey, 08731. Anytime you want to come through the doors, I'm very willing to talk. We could talk. If you come through my door and say, hey, I want to fist fight you, we will fist fight, And if you come through the doors and want to shoot me, then do what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not running.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it has nothing to do with being tough, but I don't like that shit where people are talking back. That's why a lot of these high-level competitors that jiu-jitsu guys, not MMA guys, I know it's a game in MMA, but like the shit that they talk back and forth, and then they're in the same locker room, like not acting like it. They're not even looking at each other. So wait a second. When you're in your home and I'm in my home, you could talk shit, but when we're right next to each other, you stop talking.
But that's a street thing. That's what you have that when you come from. Like I remember it's a guy in the firearms industry actually, and I'll tell you who it is later, Suraj. This is a funny thing. I've had guys and I'm like, you don't understand. I don't care. I'm prepared to die. Like I don't. But that's in MMA and everything else. Like you said, it's a show. It's an act. And in a way, it's almost like they all take a crash course in this is the show, and then you go in the ring and you handle your business, and everything else is built around money. So they're like domesticated animals. Yeah. Whereas like out on the street or even at the level I grew up, it's no, we're going to settle this on the sidewalk if we have to.
Yeah, and for me, it doesn't have to be physical. It doesn't have to. If you want to come in and you want to have a conversation, we can. But if you want it to be physical, it can as well. Like I said, it has nothing to do with being tough. It has to do. It's just how I was brought up, man. It's just who I am. Like I've seen some wild shit, and if I haven't seen it, I know people who have actually done unthinkable shit. You know what I mean? And I just know like whatever is gonna be is gonna be. I live my life. I don't have anyone out there that I could think of that I hate. I don't right now. No. There's one guy that I really dislike.
There's always one.
And we'll see one day what happens, right? But right now, nothing, A lot of people are just afraid of what could happen to them if they look bad. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So it's very easy to look good behind the keyboard. We had a kid, excuse me, sorry.
Oh.
Keep clearing my throat. We had a kid that came and trained in my gym. He was from, that's okay. He was from Vegas, actually. He moved to New Jersey, trained in my gym. And then I go online. Somebody sends me, man, look at this guy. This what he's saying about Gordon. He was bringing Gordon's girlfriend into it. He was like saying like crazy shit to Gordon online. And I'm like, I messaged him like, bro, you're in our state. Gordon is like a brother. Like you can't say these things and then come to my gym. So what I want you to do, if you want to continue to train, you need to say it to Gordon's face. Gordon's going to come in from Puerto Rico because if I tell Gordon to do something, he's going to do it. He's going to come in and you're going to say, oh, no, I don't want to say it. I don't think I could kick his ass.
Right.
Well, then why the fuck are you saying it?
Yeah.
Why are you saying it? Because you think you should have your freedom of speech. But yet, if I have my full freedom of speech, you attack me and I'm the animal. I should be shadow banned because Instagram and Facebook could do whatever.
I was going to say, is that a social media thing, Tom, where it's like I got these social media nuts and they're bigger than yours and I'm gonna say what I want to say because on this I'm safe. You know what I mean? I'm protected.
Yeah, but how could you go home and look at your woman? Like, I can't imagine laying next to my woman being like, hey, watch, I really got this guy. I really disrespected him. And then the guy's like, hey, let's meet up. Babe, do you believe he actually wants to meet me and beat me up? No way. Like, what kind of man are you? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, that, how could I look at my boy? How could I look at my child? How could I look at my daughter? You know, my son, he's a special little guy, man. He's such a sweet kid, but he has a mean streak, but he doesn't know how to use it yet. And the other day, he and his friend were playing in the pool, and his friend called him a jerk. And my son pushed him. And I was so proud of Thomas for pushing him, right? But then his friend got super upset, and they started going back and forth. So I said, hey, listen. I said, guys, get in here right now. I said, you're both. I said, neither of you are wrong, but neither of you are right. I said, Destin, you shouldn't be calling your friend a jerk. I said, Thomas, you shouldn't be pushing your friend. I said, you guys, look at each other right now. I said, this world is not easy. This world is tough. And so many times we don't realize how tough it is. We let minor shit become major, right? And we create little things. Like the fact that you guys have each other right now is a beautiful thing, because you're not going to have many people in this world. So stop calling him a jerk. Stop pushing him. But if anybody else calls you a jerk, if anybody else pushes you, we do what we have to do. You know what I mean? So it's like, I just think there's a lesson behind everything. And I think people who look for problems and, you know, people who don't understand me when I do get aggressive sometimes, I just think it's because they haven't been through the things I've been through. I wish I could just say everything I've been through. I can't. I just can't, you know. And if they understood why I am the way I am, they would probably talk less, you know. And I truly wish we could all just get along. I really do. But I've seen evil. I've seen what's out there in this world, man. And people don't fucking understand what lurks.
Mm-hmm.
People have no idea the level of animal that is among us, you know? And so when people want to get on their high horse and say, you know, I should do this better, I should do that better, I shouldn't ever talk violent. Okay. All right. I'll never forget. I saw one time there was this ISIS kid that was killed, and he looked like he was 10 years old. All these soccer moms are on the post. Oh, he was just a boy. This is terrible. All these skinny jean wearing dudes are on there. If you wear skinny jeans, don't get offended. I don't hate you. I'm just saying, sometimes you fit the look. You know what I mean?
You fit the look.
Oh, he was just a boy. This boy will come into your house,
And
cut
blow
your
you
wife's
up.
titties off,
Yeah.
and make you watch it. You understand? You know, they don't understand. They don't get it. You know, and it's like, that's the type of people we have to go against. Like so many of these people going against me, they don't realize I'm on their side. They just don't realize it. And when push comes to shove, a lot of these motherfuckers, they wish that they could have someone like me and someone like a lot of my friends in their corner. You know what I mean?
100%. You're the ones they'll call. That's the thing.
That's the irony.
That's the thing.
That's the irony.
That's the struggle with society today, and we discuss this a lot. Like, you know, one minute they want to take away the freedom of us being able to go to a restaurant that we want to go to or whatever, sit down, own a gun, do whatever. They want to manage and micromanage every aspect. But the problem is with one side of the aisle is they also want to defund police. They want to take – so who's going to manage society? How is society – it's going to turn into –
defunding the police would be one of the best things you could do for my state, for us, right? Because we will do whatever the fuck we want. You know what I mean? Like, you are not going to tell me shit. You know, but I do support our police. I support our good police officers. I have tons of police officers that train. Mike McDonald brought all the Toms River cops in, and I'm so proud of these guys, man, because, you know, Suresh, a guy like Suresh, man, you know, like, physical specimen. You know, I know that motherfucker could snipe me from, I don't know, put me and him in the woods, you know, a mile apart from each other, fucking naked with nothing. He's gonna live much longer than I am. You know what I mean? But as far as once we get hands on each other, he didn't know much. So what does he do? He goes in and he learns to better himself. How many fucking people out there are just afraid to say, I'm not that good, right? As tough as I am, if I'm gonna start shooting, I'm gonna say, hey guys, show me what to do here. I can shoot a gun, right? But I'm more like the boys in the hood type gun shooter. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like I'm not like really like a fucking sniper. So I want to learn. I want to be a student, you know? And it's like so many people don't get it. And a lot of people say, well, what do you think? You could just do, you can't, if somebody does this, you can't do that. No.
Oh, there's a lot of gatekeepers. That's the thing, Tom.
Fuck I want, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
And it's just, I have to deal with the consequence after it's done. But yeah, the irony with the whole defund the police, the biggest pussies in the world were saying to do it. The people that were saying defund the police were the first one to call the police when something went wrong. So what do you do? You know how many times I call the police in my life? 0. You know how many times I will, listen, come and bash my head in, I will not call the police. Come in my school and piss on my mats, I will not call the police. We're going to do things differently, you know? And then even me saying that right now, there's some dork listening to this right now. Me saying that I wouldn't call the police, we would do things differently. He's like literally looking over at his chick right now while she's secretly texting another man he doesn't know about. and he's literally like, do you believe Tom said that he wouldn't call the cops?
He's full of shit.
Yeah, he would do something different. What kind of animal is he? But then in the next sense, he's saying, oh, we shouldn't have cops.
Right.
These fucking people, they've lost their minds. I know I'm crazy. I no. Look, man. Like when my dad was dying, I rebranded my cross when my dad was dying. You know?
It's awesome.
And it's important for me. And when I did it, I sent it to my friends, and it's like, I think feeling pain and feeling uncomfort keeps us in line. And that's what jiu-jitsu has done for me my entire life. But I can't train as hard anymore because I have I'm not going to go down the line of injuries, but I have a lot. So people are like, well, why would you do this? I said, well, my dad was in the hospital. So he died a very, very horrible death. You know, he suffered tremendously. And I was there with him and, you know, trying to comfort him. And I couldn't accept the fact that he was suffering so much and I wasn't. You know what I mean? And I wanted to feel just a little bit of something. And I think that people out there who just judge the gatekeepers, they haven't felt what other people have felt. They haven't felt the pain that other people have felt. They haven't felt what it's like to be a police officer, to go save a dying baby, then to go help an old woman, you know, who fell, and then to go pull someone over and be motherfucked and still keep your composure and still just write them the ticket they deserve, and then come home at the end of the day, do everything right, only to be told that they're a piece of shit. They haven't experienced that. Because let me tell you something, if I was a cop, motherfuckers, you don't want me as a cop, right? Because if you're going to disrespect me like that, I'm gun button motherfuckers all day. You know what I mean? I would last a cop one day, but then the problem is we group everybody together.
Mm-hmm.
So we also have the cop who was a fucking dork his whole life, who got made fun of his whole life. Now he has a badge and he feels high and mighty. He doesn't need to learn anything because he has his gun. His gun is his end-all be-all. That's the kind of police officer people don't like. But don't you dare group all police officers together. You can't do that. Don't you dare group all race together. You can't do that. You know, real quick, you know,
go ahead.
The when I was talking about that, my friends in high school, I hung out with all the black kids in high school. Derek, Grant, Tootie, Arian, fucking Kwan, Romar, and these guys are my ride or dies. You know what I mean? When I looked in the corner, it was the white boys that weren't coming to my defense that I love to death. But here's the thing. My black friends were used to confrontation their entire life. We would fist fight.
They were forged in the fire.
We would fist fight. They would hold me down. They thought it was a joke and beat the shit out of me. Everything's legal but the face. Thomas Jacobs, I love you, man. You know what I mean? He was the toughest motherfucker. He hates that I'm cursing. He was Derek's dad. And he would beat my ass to where so many people would say it's abuse. It's not abuse. He taught me so much how to be a man, you know? And it's like those, yes, forged in the fire. They were used to that combat. The white boys weren't, you know? But at the same time, there's things that they could do that they couldn't do, that they couldn't do, that they couldn't do. And then let's take my friends, my black friends, and take them apart. There's things that Derek could do that Kawan couldn't do, that Romar couldn't do. I understand sometimes one group of people or one group of profession has certain similarities, right? Like you said, the East Coast boys are a certain way, right? East Coast boys. But it doesn't mean that we're all the same. You know, we have differences. And I think people need to understand, yeah, there might be a similarity with cops. You know, they're the ones to pull you over when you're going 5 miles over the speed limit.
Right.
But it doesn't mean every single one is the same. People group shit together, and they need to separate it a little bit, man. Judge each person as they are.
The part of the bigger issue too, Tom, has been the politicians that are getting elected. Most of them, 75% of them, they're fucking fruitcakes. They're not normal people functioning society. They maybe in the House you get some, you know what I mean, because it's not as high a position. But these people are so far removed from reality.
Listen, they're the biggest thugs out there.
Oh yeah,
And you know, these motherfuckers they will literally shut your business down, let you bleed out, and they won't care whatsoever.
no, not lose a day of sleep.
You know, and you know, this is I think the reason I got shadow banned, honestly, is because I went through a moment where I was tagging our governor all the time. And I was DMing him I was DMing him all the time because
Fuck you.
It was my
I'm banned by our
you know,
government. I think.
what it comes down to is I was scared. And when I'm the type of person, when I get scared, I lash out. I don't cower away, right? If I'm scared of a cliff, keep me away from it because I'll jump right the fuck off it. Just to prove to myself that I'm okay.
I can fly.
Yeah. You know, so I was so scared they're going to try to shut me down. And I would say, I will have 10,000 fucking people protesting on your front lawn. Like they will just stand at your front lawn. You know, let me tell a story.
Tell us.
I had a reporter to come into my motherfucking school on a Friday night when I wasn't there, and he was from NBC. He was a famous reporter. I get a call. I'm in Maryland. So this guy came in, had a mask on, had a cell phone. But but the one guy said, I got his plates. I said, run his fucking plates right now. Find out who this guy is and who is he. I find out that he's this fucking guy on like NBC News, like in the front of the camera. I got his personal number and I called him and I was like, listen, man, like I understand you're doing your job, but if you do your job and you post, because I was running classes when we shouldn't. If you post this, you're taking food out of my kids' mouths. You're attacking me. I don't want to attack you. I want everything, but why aren't you following governor's orders? And I was like, listen, when you wake up every day and you take Johnny and Susie to school, and I told them his kids' names, you're just doing the best you could for your kids. And I know, and I didn't tell him his kids' names because I was threatening at all, but I needed to know everything about him before I called him. When your wife, Maria wasn't her name, comes home, you know, after she works in this place, she's just trying to make ends meet. I'm just trying to make ends meet, you know? And when I told him this, he didn't even take it as a threat. And I wasn't giving it as a threat, but he was like,
You're trying to have a conversation.
It was a beautiful moment, man, because he was like, you know what? He's like, Tom, maybe he did fucking take it as a threat. I don't know.
Maybe, probably.
But he didn't write, he didn't go to the news, and he understood. He's like, I understand it's tough for business owners like you, and I'm not going to write anything. He's like, I'm going away on vacation this week. And he's like, just relax. He's like, when I come back, if I want to talk to you about this, I'll give you a call personally, but I promise you I'm not going to have any of my writers write about it.
You know what's crazy, Tom, is through all that, this is how much scumbag reporters are, right? I'm going to say this. Reporters are scumbags, okay? And I'm going to tell you why. A lot of them. I'm not going to lump the whole group because then that would make me like them, but I'm going to say a lot of them. Because none of them wrote a piece on the struggling business that's trying to stay open, that's trying to make ends meet. So show me one of those articles. I want CNN, Fox News, whoever. Show me one of those articles.
You know what it is? Because people go with the pack, right? So here's the thing. Like
pitchforks and tiki torches. Let's get them.
I watched the Animal Planet my whole life, and I know people, Tom Deblass thinks he's a lion. No, you fucking nerd. I don't think I'm a lion. I just love lions. We could learn a lot from lions. And here's the thing. Like, I would be the type of lion, if I'm riding with one lion, right? And then as he's getting older, I know his day is coming to an end. Then these two new lion brothers come up. The whole lion pride, as loyal as they were to this lion, they will jump ship and go over to the other two lions, right? I wouldn't. I would stay and die alongside. So everybody wrote the piece they thought they should write because that's where the coverage was. No one could stand in the face of adversity and die for a cause. Let me talk about this. This is why I like lions real quick. Let me talk about this.
This is your mic.
Lion. Good. Lion named Mr. T, they call him. He was an undersized lion. They call him Mr. T because he had the mane that looked like Mr. T. He had two brothers that were very big, ruthless as well. Mr. T alone was confirmed for killing 200 lions. They said he was the only lion in history to literally be a psychopath.
Eat the pride.
Like his pride, he defended. Like they were safe. His pride loved him. His pride felt safe. But Mr. T, if you came anywhere near him, like he wouldn't just chase you out of the territory. He would chase you for miles, smell you out until he found you, and then slaughter you. Because how dare you come in my motherfucking land? When Mr. T's time was up, every lion, when they get older, they generally die in exile unless they're murdered in a fight. So what happens is two lion, they run in groups. So usually a pack of 2 to 4 brothers will come in, and the older lion will run away. He'll run away and he'll die starving. Oh man, Mr. T's other brothers died. Mr. T was the last one. 3 lion brothers came in. You could see it on YouTube. It's a beautiful tragedy to watch.
That's the line.
There you go.
There we go.
And if you look in his eyes, you see something's different. As these brothers came in, everyone thought Mr. T would run. He didn't run. He fought, and he fought hard. And then the one came behind him and bit his spine and paralyzed him. So he couldn't move. He could only move his leg.
Bear crawl.
Look in that fucking lion's eyes. He thought he could win still, and he died the way he lived. My father was able to die the way he lived. He died with honor. He suffered when he died, and when I say honor, everything my dad did wasn't honorable, but he was a man's man, and I looked at him when he was suffering, and I'm like, Dad, my dad was on hospice for 15 days, man. Wow. No food, no water. That's not normal. Most people in hospice, they die after a few days. 15 days, no food, no water. And, I said, Dad, this is, how could we expect anything different?
Right.
This is how you lived, and this is how you die, And I hope when given the opportunity, when my time comes, that I could actually go out of my shield, and die with honor and die with a sense of purpose the way I try to live, And it's
that's a dying art, though, Tom. There's not a lot of people out there that still wanna fight for what I call their piece of the universe, whatever that is, whatever they stand for.
There's a lot of guys listening to this right now thinking I'm a fucking dork for saying it. Oh, what do you think you are? Who do you think you are? I know who I am, man. That's why I know how I want to die. And it's basically non-existent anymore. It's
the pussification of society, right?
It is, and in the same sense, I'm also not that guy who's just everybody has to be hard. When my son falls and bumps his knee, I don't tell him to toughen up. I go and I kiss his knee, and I wipe his tears from his face, because I know his time will come. His time will come where he knows how to be a savage when needed.
The key is, it's like anything else. When your metal is tested, iron sharpens iron. You gotta be prepared to say, okay, and it doesn't have to be in a fighting capacity. I understand what you're saying. It can be a math equation. It can be anything. You have to be prepared to put the time in to see it through, whatever it is. And if you do that, then you can go out on your shield. Then that's when you've done it your way. It's not always about lifting weights. It's not always about anything, being the best shot, being the best grappler, whatever it is. If you're respected at what you do and you do it well and you do it to the max every day and you do it hard, that's going out on your terms.
And that's where a lot of guys, when we talk about the school owners, that's where a lot of them fail, because a lot of them don't have that sense of depth and understanding that it's not always tough, but at the same time, some of them are so soft, they don't have it in them to be tough when they need you. Every day
they don't ever bite down.
Yes, every day is a different day. Some days you're going to be, I actually had an issue at my school a few weeks ago, because my competitor class, my competition class, I'm very tough on them, and they just weren't, they were dragging ass, and I cursed. I cursed, get your shit together, what the fuck is going on right now? I know what their goals are, And at the same time, if they come and they tell me they're tired and they need a break, I'll give them a day, We'll work through it together. But this was a day we were supposed to go hard, and I could tell their mind is somewhere else. When I say these things, they don't give a fuck. I could tell I could tell sometimes they even try not to laugh, because they know it's never a lasting angry moment with me. It's very fleeting. But there was an individual there with his grandson that I didn't know stuck around after the kids' class 30 minutes later to watch, or like 20 minutes to watch the competition pro class. And he had an issue that I cursed. And I said, you weren't even supposed to be here, bro. You know what I mean? Like, just like in my kids' class, if my professionals are there, they need to be quiet and respect our kids on the mats, you know? Every class that I teach is for that class, and I don't deviate. I don't care who you are. I don't care who walks through my doors. Conor McGregor could walk through the doors in a kids' class going on. No one's like yelling that it's Conor. They're gonna wait till class is over and then we'll greet Conor.
Right.
And I said to him, I was like, man, like, this is really your issue. This is your issue, that I cursed in a moment of passion with my professional athletes, where there's 1,000 other things we could be looking at our own self in the mirror to correct. I'm not going to get into it, but there's things that this individual could have done to correct on his own to be a better example for everybody, for his grandson, for everybody. And the thing is that's the problem nowadays. Everybody wants to point the finger about what they think should be done differently, but they don't look at their own self about what they could do differently. You know? And I think everybody wants change. If we want change, we have to change a person looking back at us in the mirror, and that's our own self, you know? And I was just so floored. I couldn't believe, and I bent over backwards for this group, for this guy and his grandson, and I've done the best that I could for him. But the moment things didn't go the way he wanted, he was so upset, you know. And you know, it is what it is. You know, I didn't want confrontation. I don't want anything like that. But it just goes to show for you school owners out there, like, guys, I've been open for like 16 years. I have, you know, close to 1,000 students, 35 affiliate schools around the world, and we still have issues. I still have issues where you could be doing everything you think you're doing right, and you still let people down. You still disappoint people, you know, and it's just never easy, you know, and that's the biggest thing in running any business. I think we have to understand. We want to wait till it gets smooth. It doesn't get smooth.
There's no.
It should never get smooth. It's just constant. It's just hard. Life is hard. I don't know if it's hard for everybody. Life is really
well. You're trying to, in a school especially, you're trying to please a lot of personalities. There's a lot of, you know, you're not gonna make everybody happy.
Yeah.
1,000 students, gonna be a couple that are like, what the fuck?
And I know I'm not the easiest guy. Like I'm very strong-willed, and I am a very passionate dude, you know. And my natural tendencies are aggressive, you know. But my students that are with me, my ride or dies, like, they know, like, man, there's nothing I won't do for them, man. They could come to me and be like, hey, listen, like my one student, he was driving so far, gas was giving him an issue, and I just found out that he was having trouble with, you know, like, money. Cancel his membership, gave him some fucking money. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes people say, the people who know me well say you're too giving, but I would rather be too giving.
I agree with that 100. You know, I agree with that 100%.
100%.
100%.
I don't know, man. Life is tricky.
I was going to ask you. I want to ask you at least one more question. Now, when you're developing folks, and you and I have talked about this offline, and they're all different wavelengths, how do you progress them through the belting system, or how do you see it? Because you recently did a big post on an older guy that, you know, got belted up, and it was inspiring. It was something to, like, it was worth a read. If anybody listening goes to Tom's Instagram page, there's a post of an older guy. You know, you reward somebody that's maxing out all their ability. How do you reconcile somebody who's maybe a comp team guy to blue belt to purple to whatever versus like a regular person versus the old timers? How do you build all that you're looking for?
So generally, I do follow the IBJJF's guidelines, and that's something I do because I think we do need some kind of structure that we could base off. So for people who are non-competitors, as long as they put in their time, they make the amount of classes and they put in their time, they're going to get belted as long as they're decent people. You know what I mean? I hear people who are white belts for 3 years. I'm like, what? That doesn't make sense to me. If you're a competitor, I may be a little tougher on you and belting you because I know that a lot of people are blue belts for 5-6 years, but I do follow the guidelines of the IBJJF. And then after purple belt, I start looking a little closer about who is ready mentally for brown belt as well. You know, I don't make it this big thing. I think a lot of instructors use their belting as a way of power, and that's not what I do. Like, people, when they show up and they put in their time, they don't have to be beating it. Like, I have blue belts that will be, I have blue belts, legitimate, well, let's say purple belts. Like, I have a few purple belts that'll whoop 99% of non-competitive black belts out there. And that doesn't mean that they should be a black belt. That it doesn't mean the person who's getting beat as a black belt shouldn't be a black belt either. You know what I mean? Like, being belted has to do, in my opinion, really with time and understanding. It doesn't have to do with application as much. And people might not understand what I'm saying. When I say application, you're not going to get... So even me, let's give myself 5 more years so my body's totally broken down, right? I'm destroyed. So let's say at 44 years old, someone may have a better half guard than me as far as not getting their half guard passed. They're not going to know more. I promise you, a blue belt or a purple belt, they're not going to know more about the half guard. Literally no one, in my opinion, no one in the world is going to know more about the half guard, right? Because that's my shit. But it doesn't mean I'll be able to do in practical application
and execute it,
everything that I know, because there's physical limitations that we all have.
Sure.
You know, and I think instructors need to understand that. And the instructors who you're holding people 2-3 years, get your shit together, man, and understand you need to communicate with your students. You need to tell them. And I tell my students, if you feel you're being held back, come and talk to me, because maybe we missed the promotion. Come and talk to me. It's an open line of communication. I might tell you, like, no, you're not ready, but I want to hear how you feel. My students are paying me, you know, like they're paying me to train. And if they're not paying me, there's some kind of relationship that we've built to where I trust them, you know, and they have the right to ask questions, for sure.
Yeah. It's hard. It's juggling a lot of personalities and a lot of different wavelengths, right? Like everybody's on a different wavelength. So you got to kind of being a teacher or instructor or anything is hard. Being a coach is hard. You got to juggle 1,000 personalities. None are the same.
No.
And you got to juggle a lot of people.
It's not easy, but like,
nothing is, right?
Yeah. And the thing is, you have to understand not everyone is always going to be happy. But I think you will be okay as an instructor if your students know that you're genuine and your intentions are good. You know, like you have to be authentic. That's how I built my brand. Like, there's better competitors out there. I don't know a lot of jiu-jitsu schools that do better than mine, but I'm sure there are. But the thing is, I don't have my following because of that. I have my following because of my authenticity. I have my following because I am who I am. You know, I just don't share the great aspects of my life. I share the failing aspects of my life, you know, and I think a lot of people don't do that, and I think they should. And I think instructors to their students, they should communicate when they're having a tough day, like, you know, this happened, but I'm still here for you guys. I'm going to put in that.
You're more relatable.
Yeah, you have to be.
You have to be more relatable. And not every day is a good day.
No, man, that's the thing. And not every day your student is going to have a good day.
Right.
They might come in someday, and if you notice they come in and they're having a tough day, don't push them to their breaking point. Kind of pull back a little bit. You know?
Give them an inch.
Let them breathe. I'm that way, and not everybody may agree with my females. I'm very careful because, listen, hormones are real. They are. I don't care what anyone says. So if I notice some of my females in my school are off a little bit, I'm going to ease off a little bit. I'm not going to push them that hard. And I will talk to them like, listen, hey, how you feeling today? Are you okay? How's your mind? Like, can we push today? I think you should push today. And I know it might not be easy. And I know your mind is off. But I think we need to do this. Me saying that to them right there makes them know, all right, Professor Tom knows that. He knows I'm off.
You're checking him.
But he knows, I know he cares, but all right, he still has my best interest in mind. Rather than me just like, oh, do this. Oh, well, we have this coming up. It doesn't matter how you feel. No, it doesn't matter how we feel. But at the end of the day, we have to recognize that people feel what they feel.
Saying how you doing goes a long way, Tom.
Long way, brother.
Goes a long way. And if you're honest about it, if you're having a good day, man, I'm having an awesome day. I'm killing it. Say that. If you're having a bad day, man, I'm having a rough day.
I had Mike Sears from Flow. He's the one running Who's Number One.
Right.
Out of nowhere the other day, he just messaged me like, hey, Tom, how are you? And I was like, I was waiting for him, like, do you need something? Like, what's up, man? Like,
can we get dinner?
He was like, no, man. He's like, I'm just checking in on you. Him doing that right there, honestly, went such a long way. And it's like, dude, like, you know, like that's how you build loyalty.
Circle equity.
Yeah, man. You know, and it's like, it meant a lot to me because it was just nice. He was just.
I always say, I say it sometimes with the guys. You have to think of it like your circle's at a card table. Sometimes you got to put some things in the middle. You know, just say.
100%, man.
You got to put some stuff out there in the middle. You got to think of it like that. Like, hey, let's powwow. You know.
Totally agree.
Now, I loved having you, man. We've gone what, an hour and 15 or whatever. Yeah, we're a little over. That's good though. That's excellent. I love you, man. I love having you. I appreciate you coming out. You've been, to people that don't know, you've been a little bit of a mentor to me. I'm always trying to support whatever you're doing. Having you on means a lot. Suresh knows it was one of those things that, like, it's not, I'm not representing the jiu-jitsu community until I have Tom on. You know, it's kind of how I view it. I mean, seriously. I mean, that's how I look at it. You know, to me, there's certain buttons you got to hit, and you're one of them, and you've earned that. And for that, I respect the shit out of you and everything that you put out there. And I'm a fan.
Thank you.
I admit it.
I appreciate that, man. I'm a fan of you as well.
Where can people find you?
Tom Deblass, just TomDeblass on Instagram. Follow my backup account because you never know when I'm going to be banned on my main account.
Any day now it's coming.
Literally.
Fire.
And then Tom Deblass on Facebook. And I do my best to respond to people. It gets really hard. But if you're going through like a time, this is what I tell everybody. If you're going through a time where you're like suicidal or something like that, like write like attention in big letters or be like, hey, asshole in big letters. Get your
eyes on.
But don't do that and then just ask me advice about like, something.
When should I feed my turtle?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like if you're going to do that, make sure we need to get to it. And
that's the best way to make calamari.
Yeah, exactly.
You look at like a dog.
How do you deal with being ugly, Tom?
Yeah,
I'm ugly. And I'm there for you guys, man. Everybody who supports me, I genuinely, wholeheartedly, I appreciate you so much. It means the world to me.
I want to ask two things. One, I want to get a final piece of advice, but I also want to ask, what do you have coming up next where people can find you or see you? You at any competitions or anything? You going by today's competition in Vegas? Where are you going to be?
I am not. I'm going to be at Odin's Jiu-Jitsu tomorrow, just teaching a seminar. And that's it. I don't have anything. And then I'll be at Emerald City Invitational. Guys, check out Emerald City Invitational. My student, Sam, is running it. He's putting his heart and soul into it. I have 2 students competing in that coming up in August.
Sam, you said?
Yeah, Sam.
Shout out to Sam.
Sam, Micale is his Instagram, and Emerald City Invitational. And I will be there in August, and then I'll be at the Nogi Worlds in October.
Where are the Nogi Worlds?
Texas, I believe.
We're in Texas in what are we in Texas? September? NRA, yeah, we got the NRA show.
I'm a Texas fan. I like Texas.
I like Texas. I hate the traffic. I can't. It's like Miami. That traffic when you're in DFW, it's fucking nuts.
The worst traffic is in California, though, bro.
Yes, but who goes there? Yeah. Who in their right mind wants to go?
It's so crazy because it's such a beautiful place, man.
Yeah, people fucked it up.
Yeah,
that DFW area, the traffic's rough. And Miami's the worst, in my opinion. Yeah. Just Miami's tough. I can deal with New England. I can deal with Jersey. I can deal with New York. Miami.
There's just something about it.
You got to either eat dinner at 5 or 9 at night.
Yeah.
You got to get the blue hair special, or you got to go out at fucking midnight to get a steak.
There's no in between.
You go in between, you're in no man's land. You're trapped in Kendall for 5 hours. What's the final piece of advice you want to give everyone?
Focus on moments. Focus on being happy. Don't focus on making money. Focus on doing something that you love. Do it well, and money will be a consequence. And just don't lose moments. Like if you do something that's good, be proud of yourself and relish in that moment. It doesn't mean that I never focused on my moments. Everything I would win, I would just want more and more and more. And I realized I could have won 17 ADCCs, and for me that wouldn't have been enough. Because what if there's someone who won 20?
It's a Tom Brady complex.
Just focus on moments, find happiness. And at the end of the day, there's one thing that's promised: we all die. We're going to die one day, and it's how we live that matters. And be nice. That's it,
Simple, but so tried and true advice.
Amen, brother.
Well, I appreciate it. And it goes without saying, I can't thank you enough for coming out and taking the time. I want to thank some of the sponsors, and especially Tom. Go check out all his stuff. His links will be down below. I want to thank a few of the sponsors. They're all listed on the website, www.johnbartoloshow.com. A few of them: Galotech, Rhino Metals, Enforce Weapon Lights, Pulsar Thermal Imaging Technology, Blackwater Ammunition, Volquartz and Firearms. I especially want to thank Kenzie's Optics. And shout out to Advanced Warrior Solutions. Appreciate those guys. Thank you. And shout out to Howlerhead. Appreciate them. Busy week for the UFC. Shout out to them too. Thank you, Tom. And we are out.